This podcast is a rant. This is me telling you everything that you possibly need to know all about the number one diet, the number one way to train, the number one way to lose fat, intermittent fasting, ketogenic diet, low carb, high fat, low fat, vegan, all that stuff. This podcast is a massive rant, so get prepared for this because I'm going to be spilling all the beans on all this stuff. Now, to give you a little bit of context and to tell you why I'm filming this podcast today, it's pretty much because I was in the gym and somebody walked into the changing room and they had a waist trainer on and they were kind of looking at themselves in the mirror, getting changed, all that stuff. And then a lady went up to the lady wearing a waist trainer saying, "Wow, does that thing really work?" And then the lady who was wearing the waist trainer started saying, "Yeah, it's great. It helps me sweat. It holds in my waist. It's giving me this small waist that I'm after." And I was just sat there like, oh my gosh, do I say something? What do I do? And then as the lady who asked the lady who was wearing the waist trainer the question, as she walked away from the other lady, I kind of looked her in the eye and just gave her this look. And then pretty much what happened was I ended up explaining to the lady who was asking about the waist trainer that waist trainers are not effective and they don't do all this stuff. And she was like, "Well, why do so many people wear them then?" And I said this word: marketing. This is the reason why so many of these fad diets, why so many of these fad products are famous. It is because these companies know how to do marketing. They pump tons of money into these massive marketing campaigns in order to get the waist trainer well known, in order to get the skinny tea well known. I actually posted something onto my Instagram story the other day, and by the way, if you don't listen to my Instagram stories, you definitely should, because I put something on my story where the thing was from some Detox Tea company. I'm not going to name the name of the company because I don't want to give them the free advertising. But basically, they emailed me saying that there are people who are affiliates for them, who I'm actually going to leave a screenshot in the show notes for this podcast. I'm going to leave a screenshot. Like, if you click the link, then you can see the screenshot of what the email said. But basically, it was saying that some people are earning like thousands of dollars per month or per week through promoting this detox tea. So look, if I was to have accepted that and to have come on this podcast saying this detox tea is what helps me stay lean, it's what gives me my six-pack, and if you buy it, then you can get the six-pack and this body like me, then, you know, some people would buy that because some people believe this stuff because of the marketing. So this is the issue with the flipping fitness industry. So many people believe all this stuff because of the marketing behind it. This is why, as a consumer, it is your duty to be sensible. It is your duty to realize, oh my gosh, some of this stuff isn't necessarily true, and I need to be careful about who I believe. So if you're following people and then they are posting about these products all the time and all of their posts are sponsored posts, then you might need to think to yourself, why is this person posting about this? At the same time, is what they're talking about, have they given scientific evidence? And the issue is with these detox teas, and you know, I'm using that as an example now, but as these other companies, like these people will come on and they'll have some scientific evidence. But at the same time, these people, you know, have they ever given any grounds as to how they know anything about science? And look, I didn't go to university to study science. I went to university and I dropped out of university. But I have my personal training qualifications. I've done the SBS Academy, which gives me more scientific information. I read maths every single month. And by the way, the link to subscribe to maths is in the show notes, and I recommend it. If for anybody who is a professional in the fitness industry, I think anyone literally has a duty to be reading that because it gives you the most up-to-date scientific evidence. And yes, I'm an affiliate for it, but I'm an affiliate for it because it's flipping awesome and because I am all about no BS fitness and no BS anything really. So look, okay, people, if there's someone who posts photos of their butt and who typically doesn't really, they might be squatting with bad form in the gym and they might be getting their boobies out all the time, then really, do you think they are the most scientific person with the best information? They might be super smart and they might, like to post these type of photos because they want to, I don't know, whatever the hell their reason is. But just be careful, be critical as the consumer. So I need to tell you now, okay, now getting real deep into the title of this podcast, there is no magic formula, there is no magic pill, and yes, I'm slapping my hands together as I say this because I'm so passionate about it. Okay, here's the thing. I was having a conversation with somebody today after this whole waist trainer incident, and we were talking about, how to lose weight and stuff, and the lady said, "Oh, I do intermittent fasting." And then she was like, "Babe, it works for me. It works for so many people. I've seen so many people get amazing results. I know it works." And then I said, "Yes, It works because it gives you a smaller window of time where you are actually able to consume the food. So there's less chance of you actually overeating and going into a calorie surplus. There's more chance that you'll be in a calorie deficit. Because look, here is the truth. For example, the reason why ketogenic diet may make some people lose weight is because it puts them in a calorie deficit. The reason why a high carb, low fat diet might make some people lose weight is because it puts them in a calorie deficit. The reason why going vegan might make somebody lose weight is because it puts them in a calorie deficit. Same thing as if somebody switches from doing no exercise to starting to doing CrossFit, they might lose weight because it's put them in a calorie deficit. This thing comes up every single time. It is the calorie deficit. Now look, there are so many ways to get into a calorie deficit. And the reason why people become obsessed with their one way, or like let's say they start Slimming World and they lose weight and then they start preaching to the flipping whole entire world, oh, Slimming World is the best thing ever, it's helped me lose weight, you should do it too, it's amazing, blah, blah, blah. The reason why they're preaching it is because it's worked for them. They then get passionate about it because it's helped them and it's given them a positive emotion. For example, I know for sure that I became super preachy about weightlifting because it worked for me. Then I realized, okay, not everybody's actually going to want to do weightlifting. If they don't want to do weightlifting, that's fine. They just got to do what they enjoy. So the number one thing is you have to do what works for you. Literally what works for you. If you're trying to lose weight, then you need to somehow get in a calorie deficit. Now, I'm an advocate for scientific and evidence-based training and nutrition, and that kind of means that I am a massive fan of tracking macros, just because as a logical thinker and as someone who has quite an analytical mind, I like the fact that I can be, I can still eat the very most amount of food as possible while tracking my macros, and I can still lose body fat. Like I really like that aspect of tracking macros. That's why I've got a whole entire over 100 pages worth of an ebook called The Ultimate Guide to Tracking Macros. That's why I've got 2 macro coaching plans, and I've worked with artificial intelligence to create the very best macro coaching plans that will get you the results that you want, whether you want fat loss or whether you want to follow a reverse diet. I've created a fat loss plan and a reverse diet because I absolutely love tracking macros. But that doesn't mean to say that everybody has to track macros in order to lose the body fat. Not at all. If you hate tracking macros and you really don't enjoy it, then it's not going to work for you, because realistically the most important thing is enjoying what you're doing. So you might be somebody who's better to do intermittent fasting and only eat for 7 or 8 hours per day. So you might not eat until 11 o'clock in the morning, and then you might stop eating at 7. That might be a better way for you to lose weight. At the same time, if you're one of these people where if you have one bite of chocolate, you then go and eat the whole 200-gram bar, then you might be the type of person who you need to cut out chocolate. And look, some people will say, oh, that's a restrictive mindset. Yes, it is a restrictive mindset, but the truth of the matter is when you're losing fat, you got to restrict something, because even if you're tracking macros, you're going to be restricting calories. That losing fat, you got to restrict something, because otherwise you're not going to lose the fat. So, look, you don't need to do it in a crazy way, but this is hopefully just to give you a bit of perspective. There is no magic pill, no magic formula, no magic diet. Nothing is magic. It is just about what works for you, finding what works for you. Same thing goes with training. There is no magic type of training. It is what works for you. What can you stick with day in, day out? Because if you can't stick to it, then you're not going to get results, because the most important thing is consistency over time. Doing something every single day is going to be what gets you the results, not just doing something just because you think it's magic and all that. So look, just don't fall for all this BS. As a consumer, you got to be critical. You got to realize that nothing is magical. Keto is not magical. Intermittent fasting isn't magical. Low carb isn't magical. Low fat isn't magical. Slimming World isn't magical. Fat burning pills aren't magical. All these supplements aren't magical. I could go on forever, but seriously, I just hope this has given you a bit of perspective. Nothing is magical. No type of diet, no type of training. It is what works for you and what's in line with your goals and what fits in with your daily lifestyle. So that's that for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please share this with one person. I make all this free content for you. I'm not asking you to go leave me a review. If you choose to leave me a review, of course, I'd appreciate it. If you choose to share this on your Instagram story and tag me at Tickner and tag at Business Meets Fitness, then of course, I I will appreciate it. And for everything that I've referenced, for example, mass, and that, that was a scientific monthly review thing that I am obsessed with reading, and the Ultimate Guide to Tracking Macros and my 2 macro coaching plans, I've left them as links in the show notes. But please just share this with one person. That's all I'm asking you to do. It takes you 2 seconds. And if you'd even have a 2-minute conversation with them, or have a conversation with your Instagram story telling them about all this truth I have just dropped on you, then I'd really appreciate it. Because look, especially if if you're someone who works in the fitness industry, or if you have friends who are into fitness, or maybe you have an audience who on Instagram, they watch your Instagram story, even if it's only a tiny audience, you sharing this with them is going to help them. And so it would just be great to get some conversations going. I know that this might ruffle some feathers, but look, the reason why people get so obsessed with one thing is because it's worked for them. And, it's kind of fair enough. So anyway, that's that for today. This short little 10-minute episode. I will see you in the next one. I have some epic guests lined up. So see ya later.